donated the small pot back to the foundation. I want to talk a little bit about, so everyone's aware of what we're trying to do with the newest committee, our Veterans Affairs Committee. The purpose of the committee was really to expand the opportunities that the club has in providing service and support to state, local, and national veterans programs. As most of you have seen through the programs we've had here, and probably through the news and the media and so forth, there are a lot of follow-on situations that are occurring with our military forces, both our active duty and particularly with our Guard and Reserve, because of the extensive deployments and the involvement that they have with a lot of what our national policy is doing in our national defense area. So we're seeing more and more that these veterans on their recurring deployments and so forth are needing extensive support for themselves and particularly for their families while they're having these extended deployments. So there are a lot of opportunities for a lot of communities to put programs together in support of these individuals and their families, and so our club is reaching out to put together some programs in order to provide some assistance and support to them. Here's the committee members. I was going to put down at the bottom at the point that your name here, so if anybody is interested in getting involved or wants to get involved with the activities we have an extensive list of things we would like to do, but at this point in time, we're still getting organized and getting the calendar put together. Just to give you an idea of some of the types of things, the focus of the committee is threefold. First and foremost, to try to provide recognition and support within the club for those members that we have that were veterans, have served, and acknowledge and recognize them for their support, thank them for their support, and they've been leading us in the pledge. They've been helping us with some of the organization of the process of the committee. But we also want to do recognition and support for those veterans that are within the community. So I think it's helpful to know that we have a lot of veterans from not only just Dublin, but the surrounding areas of Dublin that we get involved with that, quite frankly, need that kind of support. Because what we're finding is that deployments are being handled a lot by the Guard and Reserve units. Now, the Guard and Reserve units aren't stationed in Columbus. They draw from members from all over the state, so sometimes it's difficult for them to have a place to go to get support and those kinds of things. So we're looking in the local community. We're trying to help within the community. Then obviously there are some national programs that are beginning to recognize the need for veterans and support, so we'd like to get involved with them. How we're doing that is through the individual club projects. We do our Veterans Honor Flight each and every year, thanks to the good auspices of John Miller and Phil Yoker and Mike Close and a lot of others that are donating their support for that. So the Veterans Honor Flight has been a very popular program. We get a lot of positive feedback from the veterans that make the trip. Next, in January, I put together a presentation to talk about Military 101, because one of the pieces of feedback that I get a lot is a lot of folks know and understand what they do, or they think they know what our military does, but they're not real sure about who they are, how they're organized, how they get trained, how they operate, and those kind of things. So we're going to have a presentation, I call it Military 101, just some overview, some information, so you have a better understanding of how all this comes together. Some projects for the club and the community. Obviously, we're involved with the Dublin Veterans of Foreign Wars. I coordinate with them a lot to get information for the veterans for our Veterans Honor Flight, and many of their members or their former members that have never been to Washington. But they're also very active in some of these other programs and are feeding me information on how we can help support them. We have our Dublin Counseling Center, which has started an extensive program to work with the military families and the support for the veterans themselves, and particularly for their families. So Julie and I have been talking a lot and trying to work our magic together and get to help put those combined partnership resources together. Blue Star Moms you're familiar with, and working with the Veteran Services and our continuing association with the Veterans Park. Project for National, we're looking at getting involved with the Wounded Warrior Program. Dr. Chris Ann Gordon, who was here talking about the opportunities and the research that she has done into traumatic brain injury and what the needs are there, and the ability for them to help provide that counseling and service and training to bring a lot of those veterans out of the PTSD and to help them become very productive back in society. So that's the direction we're going, and that's the purpose of what the committee is trying to do. I have an extensive calendar that I'd like to get involved with, but it's only as good as the number of people that want to get involved with me to help that project go. So I look forward to having an opportunity for anybody who would like to get involved. Please see me. We've got a lot of things we can do and help out in that regard.